For all the examples we've seen, him suing Showtime for $300 million, him foreclosing on multiple properties, him losing on investments on multiple properties, him buying a lot of depreciating assets, and him all of a sudden looking to box very much in the year 2026. Floyd losing money Mayweather, as the chatter says, is in dire straits financially.
Because they don't like him. They don't like him because everything that he says is about money. There's nothing else. There's no values. There's no, like the people's champ, like Ali was standing for the same things.
Right.
The audience was standing for. You know, he doesn't have any of that. It's just money. You know what I'm saying? And that, he knows you don't like him.
Some people will say, you know, he's suing now because of his gambling habits, which was not hidden. It was not a secret. He would post, not Teddy Atlas talking about anything that wasn't out there. He would post some of his tickets, his betting tickets that he bet, and they were large bets. And so some people say, oh yeah, like you said, he was Mayweather, Money Mayweather, and now he's suing because he went through his money, he blew his money, whatever.
Floyd Mayweather, once the richest man in sports, untouchable, unbeatable. Now he's falling, and it's happening fast. The boxing world is watching in shock, grief, anger, disbelief. This is not how it was supposed to end. Legal troubles are closing in. From every direction, the walls are closing. And now, Manny Pacquiao might sue him over his recent comments about their fight. Floyd talked, and now Pacquiao's coming for him. Not in the ring, in court. This is the fall of a legend, and it's painful to watch.
There is no joy. We are not one of these sick people, and I call them sick. I'm not afraid to say what I feel. That's in their underwear in grandmother's basement or wherever the freak they are, taking pot shot at people because of their misery, because of their misfortune, because they're in a bad place. Shame on you. And shame on the people out there. I know that there's some of them. Everyone knows I don't really read that internet unless somebody shows me specifically some stuff. And I saw some of the stuff. I didn't want to see any more, so I told them, don't show me anymore. But I saw enough to see what was out there. People taking shots at a great fighter, Mayweather. Probably the same people that were, applauding him and saying how great he was at one point, and now they're taking shots at him like they're almost, like they get pleasure out of seeing a great fall.
The reports just came out, and they're brutal. Floyd's massive wealth, it might all be fake, overstated, a house of cards, liens, foreclosures, debts piling up everywhere. His property, leveraged. His private jet, leveraged. Nothing's really his. And get this, creditors are chasing him for unpaid jet fuel. Jet fuel! Let that sink in. But it gets worse. Floyd's out here calling the Manny Pacquiao fight an exhibition, just an exhibition. But here's the problem. He already took the advance for a professional fight. That's a breach of contract. Floyd might have just trapped himself. The empire is crumbling, and the world is watching.
Mayweather had to say the fight weekend of Fundora and Thurman. Apparently he did an interview, said that it was an exhibition, that these guys didn't have anything to prove, that their legends were already set in stone, and that it would be an exhibition. He wasn't sure if it was going to be at the Sphere. Apparently, that is not true. According to a Boxing Scene article that interviewed Jaz Mathur, the CEO of Manny Pacquiao Promotions, said that, yes, the fight is contracted for the Sphere, booked at the Sphere, scheduled at the Sphere for September 19th. It is booked as a professional fight, not as an exhibition. It was never booked as an exhibition, which makes sense because Netflix got behind it, and I would assume that they would not want an exhibition. We said the other day, I think it was actually yesterday, we said that this fight has to be a real fight and not an exhibition because, one, Netflix is involved, two, Manny Pacquiao wants that get back, and two, also just betting lines. It's a huge aspect of this sport and this kind of fight.
Mike Carpenter just exposed Floyd Mayweather on Twitter. And it's damaging. Floyd's comments, they directly contradict Netflix's official announcement, word for word. If Floyd keeps calling this an exhibition, he's in breach of contract. Simple as that. Wade Plemon went even harder. He's calling Floyd out, says he's trying to scam Netflix and Manny's team. Here's why. Floyd already took the signing bonus, already took the advance payments for a professional fight. Now he's calling it an exhibition? That's a scam. Plain and simple. And Floyd's done this before. The Logan Paul fight? Same playbook. He pre-sold it using someone else's name and likeness, walked away with $10 million in cash. This is a pattern. Floyd's playing games, and people are done with it.
But something is off. Something's completely off, because you got one person saying, this is a real fight. You got the promotion saying, this is a real fight. You got Floyd Mayweather saying, no, this is an exhibition. There's two things that are happening here. Either somebody messed up in paperwork or in communication or in some form of getting this fight together, misspoke to one of these guys, or Floyd Mayweather is trying to scam Netflix. That is the only two things that can be possible here. Because we then get the report, as of yesterday, that Floyd Mayweather has already taken a cash advance payment of his purse for the upcoming Manny Pacquiao rematch on Netflix, despite it currently being in jeopardy. I don't even know how that's possible. Who gave him a cash advance before they even got to the fight? I understand like paying some up front to secure the fight, but paying everything? Maybe it's not what it is. Maybe the cash advance is like partial.
Teddy Atlas calls it sad, saying some athletes never have the right people to manage their money. He believes that's what happened with Floyd Mayweather.
You know, fighters, they risk everything. They risk so much. And then everything they took the risk for sometimes is lost. Whether it was Joe Louis, whether whoever. It never becomes not sad or unfortunate to hear. Never. It's a, yeah, and look, you could say it's their responsibility. It is. It is. You got to know what's going on. But there are also sharks in this business, in any business. And sometimes these athletes, I wouldn't even specify fighters. We're talking about fighters. But you hear it in football, Bud. You were around it. You hear it in basketball. Sometimes these athletes, they don't have the right people around them to look out for them, you know, to properly educate them, to properly advise them. Hey, some don't listen.
Jonah Retnitz is a controversial businessman and a close associate of Floyd Mayweather Jr., often described as someone central to Mayweather's post-boxing business moves and real estate dealings. On X, Fight Opinion claimed Manny Pacquiao's team is threatening litigation against Floyd Mayweather over the Sphere fight on Netflix, and it isn't presented as the only legal threat hovering over Floyd or over his top associate, Jonah Retnitz. At one point, Jonah was expected to go to prison. Now there's a new twist. Manny maintains it's a real fight and says he won't take part in an exhibition. Floyd has reportedly signed the contract, meaning if Manny's stance holds, it would have to be treated as a legitimate, sanctioned professional bout.
It's an exhibition and not a real fight.
Is that what he's feeling? But he signed a real fight.
So it's for sure.
Yes, the contract that we signed is a real fight.
Real fight. Okay. Yeah, because I know he said.
I want to fight an exhibition.
No exhibition. It's either real fight or nothing.
Yeah, it's a real fight. Yeah.
The Sphere still in Las Vegas.
That's the contract that he signed. I mean.
Okay, so it's still happening then.
He has to remember that.
Joe Rogan points out that Floyd Mayweather spent more than a decade as arguably boxing's biggest American name. In 2015, he beat Manny Pacquiao in what was then the richest fight. It was built on disciplined defense, fast hands, and the Money May persona that helped shape his fame and his fortune.
When he shifted from Pretty Boy Floyd to Money Mayweather, changed the whole thing.
He knew what he was doing.
He definitely did. It would have been an interesting fight had he fought Pacquiao when he was younger, in his prime. It would have been a very different
Would have been
fight.
a more interesting fight.
Much more different.
Because
Much more difficult
any
fight.
go-forward physical warrior like Pacquiao is going to wear down.
Right, exactly.
And any brilliant counterpuncher like Floyd is going to retain more.
Yeah.
So he did.
Yeah, it would have been much more interesting when they were younger. Also, the fact that Pacquiao fought him with a bum shoulder. That was a disaster, too.
Money talks.
Yeah. I mean, look, I guess he was faced with this thing, legacy, or... I mean, it was the biggest pay-per-view of all time in boxing, correct?
I believe so.
I believe so. And I think it was like 4 million buys or something crazy like that.
It was huge.
So like, what is
It was
that?
massive.
Yeah.
That's it for today. Stay tuned. See you next time.